I've been wanting to ask you a question for a long time. When we all came here, you just took to me. You like me very much, I can see, and I like you. But I know you are a South African, and I am an African. But why is it that out here you are very friendly towards me, but down in South Africa, you don't do the same towards the Negroes that are living there? Can you tell me?
Well, it's the whole setup. I mean, South Africa, we have a pattern of life which is different to any other country in the world. Because you have the white population, and which came to the country in 1652, and they are much more highly developed, coming from Europe with European backgrounds and traditions, and they have developed the country and have developed a highly civilized community, whereas the Negro, the Bantu as we call them in Africa, in South Africa, is primitive, on a very primitive level. And the barrier in South Africa isn't so much color as civilization and economically.
Excuse me, on that point, we get into a very, very tense ground recently. You talked about this question of it not being a racial struggle, but a struggle of civilization. Well, personally, you see, I sympathize with your situation, because I couldn't live in a country, your economic position, and perhaps your future well-being as a nation might be in danger if you allow the strong-hearted, driving Africans to take over the government. That is, of course, what will happen if they're given the vote. Nonetheless, let us come now to that basic issue of racial segregation.
In Africa, South Africa at that time, were the Bushmen, and they were exterminated by the Bantu coming down.
Excuse me, Susan, on that point, I think you've read your history upside down.
How come?
Yes, you see, the exact thing that happened was that these Dutchmen, I think they were Dutchmen, they haven't got a place in their homeland.
Oh,
not
no,
a means of living.
I can just prove...
Let me finish.
All right, and then I can prove you how wrong your historical facts are.
Oh, no, you know, your history is South African history. Mine is a bipartisan history. Well, this men came without any means of livelihood in their own country, with the economic background without any meaning at all. They came to South Africa. And the real facts are that as they came and there was an influx of these Dutch people from their unwanted homes, as there was an influx, the Bantus they were pushing the Bantus up into the country, till came the Zulu War, in which the Zulus were finally defeated in the most bitter and agonizing struggle they had against these Africans, you call them. Yes.
I don't know where you get your historical facts from. I really don't.
Got my historical fact from, I think, is it Mr. Trevelyan? He's in British history.
Oh,
that's far
Mr.
better
George
than...
Trevelyan knows nothing then, and I'll say that. Because it so happens that these penniless whites, as you call them, didn't come out because they didn't have homes or because of any kind of persecution. They were sent out as officials of the Dutch East India Company to establish a refreshment station for ships passing around passing around the bottom of the Cape. Just as the Dutch settlers were sent out to America by the Dutch West India Company to settle and to make a refreshment station here. Now, I think if you had to turn around to those Dutch settlers who came out and said that they came out because they were penniless, they'd be just as indignant as I am. And as you say that the white settlers came and pushed the Bantu back,
yes,
it's a fact that the whites went into the interior of Africa and didn't come into contact never even saw a Bantu until 1795, which was practically 100 years, more than 100 years after they had arrived in South Africa.
How did you have the Zulu War? What brought it about?
The Zulus had already, by the time, I think you must have a look at a map. Zululand is very far from the Cape, where these people arrived. And in 100 years, within 100 years, after the arrival of the white settlers, the Zulus had by that time, the Zulus are a part of the Bantu group, had already come down to Natal. And then you got the two groups, the one coming from the north, the one coming from the south, and they met. And that's where you get the Zulu War.
It was not even a clash in the sense you are taking it. It was even the British.
It was a clash.
The British in their benevolence, or in fact in their, because they've seen the facts that this thing is not good, they even were exercising a tempering force upon the people.
Costing thousands, millions of dollars of the white taxpayers' money annually.
What? What did you say? I didn't get the point. Said what houses?
Well, you see, this journalist said that Dr.
Yes,
Milan...
I got that point. You say what houses costing the government millions of dollars?
I
What
said
houses?
concrete and brick and cement houses for the Bantu peoples.
But these are the Bantus that are working for you in the factories. How did you get the money? They got the money, they mined the gold, got the gold, and you sold the gold outside. You got the money and you say the money is yours.
Of course
You
it
can't
is.
do that's a contradiction,
Look,
please.
we came along. We bought the machinery. We developed the mines.
From where did you get the machinery from the mines in Johannesburg? Do you own the
No,
mines?
we got
Who
our
worked the
machinery.
mines?
We got our machinery from Great Britain.
Who
From
worked-
the money that was picked, what was got with the diamonds and
How did you get the diamonds out of the
alluvial.
ground?
No native labor there.
How did you
Boniface.
get the diamonds out of the ground?
They
I want
weren't
that.
dug out of the ground. They were alluvial diamonds. No
Oh.
native labor there, my boy.
What do the natives do? You know what, Suzanne, what's one point you must get right down to the crux of the matter is that in this country, the Africans are really the backbone of your economy.
I
And
want
it
to
is
point
one of
out
that
fact.
cases where you get this question of man's inhumanity to man. And every day you come here to complain about misrepresentation in the American press. In the actual matter of fact, the American press is giving a fairly good view of the whole
you
situation
been
because
to
they have
South
a color
Africa?
problem themselves.
Have you been to South Africa, my boy?
I wouldn't even pay a penny to go there.
Well, then,
That's
how
for
can you
sure.
talk? How can you talk?
Because I have the facts. People come in there, get every people, no means of living. How can I go there? I want a house, I want a home, I want position in society.
Well, look, they're getting it. They're getting exactly what they want. Africa, such as Portuguese, East Africa, etc., are invading our country illegally in spite of the laws.
We've gone.
Are they coming for oppression? They know what goes on in South Africa, and they come back year and year again. Those who have worked in South Africa and have been sent back, come back. Are they coming back to seek oppression?
Your query, this does not answer what I am driving at. The Africans have the land. They were there
they
before
do not
you.
have the land, and
They
they were
mined
not
the
there
gold.
before us.
All right, wait a minute, Susan. Let me get my point straight before you go. They mine the lands, they get the diamonds, you sell the diamonds outside. And when you get the diamonds, you say they are not to be given their own fair share of the quota. Have you read Cry of the Beloved Country?
Yes, I have.
How?
It's a one-sided
Look,
view.
one-sided view, and it was written by an European. How could Europeans be having one-sided view about their own
They're
king and
radicals in
king?
every nation.
Radicals? You are radicals in South Africa, then?
Oh, no, we-
I've not met it. I think they must be pretty lucky, because I've been looking forward to get the segregation against me, but I have not got it yet. It's an irony that the South African will get it and I wouldn't get it myself.
Well, Susan really has felt some here. It's interesting that you're the only one who has not. Yes?
What are we after now? I think we'll come back to this question of I think it was the United States racial problems. Well, I feel, of course, that the outlook here has continued to be better.
You do.
I do. But on the other hand, this racial segregation, which of course I do, and I'll always make that point clear, is an outcrop of insecurity in economic conditions, and also somehow low-pointed opinions and all that sort of thing. Provides other people with that same pretext by which they could criticize the United States. Asians and Africans can't understand why a country devoted to the greatest ideals of freedom and democratic government should expect to discriminate among their citizens.
We didn't get to ask Sue whether in South Africa her newspapers play up racial news in America, too.
Oh, yes, they played up a great deal. Well, naturally, we get all these stories about the riots at Clinton, Tennessee, and how they had to escort these people to school and bring out the National Guard and so on and so forth.
Mrs. Waller, if I may interpret,
Yes.
I think there are more rats in the Johannesburg area, in the Negro area, than there are in Tennessee. Am I right, Susan?
Oh, well, there are a couple of...
Rats, yes.
No, I wouldn't say riots.
And wait a minute, in the Johannesburg area, you have only one telephone to the whole Negro population.
Oh,
That of-
rubbish.
Yes.
Where do you
oh,
get
well,
your facts from?
facts from books written on countable times on South Africa.
Well, that's
We are not the only
that's
country in
absolutely
the world.
ridiculous. That is
Oh.
absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely
I'll
true.
I'll get this for you afterwards. There are not, I can
All right, let me
guarantee
finish
you-
my question.
One
Let me
telephone.
finish my statement, please.
No wonder people are prejudiced
Let me
with
finish
so
my
much
telephone,
ignorance.
please. One telephone in the whole Johannesburg district. Why? They don't want the
That's not
Africans
true.
to have a means of communication by which they could rebel against the people. I'm speaking from facts. John Gunter wrote that.
That's absolutely ridiculous. And I think if you try and...
Oh, you didn't say it was wrong. It is ridiculous,
It's
but not wrong.
It's wrong.
That's
It is wrong.
Ridiculous, but not
That
wrong.
is no fact.
Barnabas, if you have got your facts from one-sided...
It's not one-sided, Mesfin. It's
it
not
should
one-sided.
be, because
you know.
what you've got is almost... all what you've got
All right.
is
Look,
against each
I
other.
can give you 4 concurrent. John Gunter wrote that. An African newspaper in Nigeria wrote that. A British paper wrote that. A Lebanese paper wrote that. Are all the world prejudiced against
Well, you
South
can't
Africa?
so much criticize the country without actually going there and seeing what is happening, you see.
I don't need to go there. I told you I wouldn't
You
pay a penny
should.
to go there. How
Because
can I go
we
there?
have come to America and we are looking what they are doing in America. We might have got false ideas of America.
In
I
America,
would
the
appreciate
outlook
it
has
if you-
continued to be better. In South Africa, the outlook has continued to be worse.
As a matter of fact,
And that exactly,
I disagree
Mesfin.
with you.
As a matter
No,
of
that
fact, we are
exactly.
progressing.
Wait a minute, Susan. That exactly, Mesfin, is what, Susan, I think you better take care about this. When these Africans come to learn that they are really being discriminated, they are learning now. And when they rise, you know what has been imposed upon the people by law? Or what has been suppressed when you get the people really suppressed? When they rise, they shall throw away that same government. And you are...
Well, let me, look,
instead
you
of-
had your speak, I'm going to have mine now. It so happens that this apartheid, which you most probably have misinterpreted already,
No, you misinterpreted
just a
it
minute,
yourself.
let me speak,
Not
is
me.
working towards a solution in South Africa, and it so happens that there will be no riots, nothing like that. This apartheid policy, which I will afterwards speak to you about, seeing I think there's only very little time, is working towards getting self-realization and self-rights for the black people within their own areas. And I think if you make a careful study of apartheid, you will see, and already they've started legislating in South Africa and spending vast sums of money. Within the next 20 years, we're going to have a solution to our problems.
I've spent 15 years learning it, and every day I become more prejudiced against South Africa. I don't need to spend a day more.
But I
And
think
for
you're getting your
instance,
facts
please,
from the wrong source.
not
That's all
from
I
the
can
wrong
say.
source, please. You're getting your facts from the government laid out principles and practices
Well,
by
I
which
live there.
segregation will
I
be
live there. I ought to
discriminated.
know.
I don't
You
want to
live
live there.
7,000 miles away. How can
That's
you know?
not better. I have a home, I have a house, I
reading
can walk anywhere I
propaganda.
have.
Reading propaganda.
Unfortunately,
All right,
our
no,
time
no,
is
Susan,
running out.
let's put that down, bye.
I'm wondering if anybody's got a final word to say on the subject of prejudice.